Hey guys, I know I'm supposed to have recorded an opening act, but oh my gosh, this weekend. This weekend. It's been crazy. So I just thought I would tune in a little early and see how you guys are doing before we get going. Adrian, great to have you along. Yeah, so of course we're working on our kitchen. And oh my gosh. Oh, don't ever remodel a kitchen. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of physical work, it's a lot of emotional work, and a lot of expenses, right? But it's going to be a fantabulous kitchen, so we're looking forward to it. Hey, while we're waiting, I've been, I put up some new comics. We'll wait till Scott joins us, and Scott can tell us if these things are any good. I actually looked them up, and they don't seem to be all that special, and they don't seem to be worth, well, when I say they're not worth too terribly much, they're probably worth like 60 or 70 bucks, and they were sold for 12 cents. So I guess they've accrued some sort of value. I don't know why, though. They're not really significant comics. They're not Jim Lee, they're Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So, real writers and real artists of the day. But I don't know if these comics have anything special going on. There is a connection, though. You can kind of see a little bit. They both, weirdly enough, they both deal with some sort of genie. So genies were big back in the day. Big, real big. I also found something else I thought I'd show you guys. I have a few of these, in fact. Well, no, I guess when it comes to animation cells, this is my only real animation cell. This is, of course, from the Batman animated series done by Warner Brothers some time back. Excellent, amazing series. This one is from the episode called Catwalk. And so, yeah, so I've got an animation cell as well. Trying to figure out where to hang it. Kind of need to figure that out. And I'll show you some other things that I've got here in the next week. So I've got more than comics. I've also got cells. I've got some original art and toys and so forth. I'll show you guys those things as it comes up here. But in the meantime, it just goes on the floor with everything else I've got here. I'm always afraid I'm going to trip on these things and break them up. So yeah, my weekend was exhausting, but I hope you had a good weekend. Hope everything is going well for you. For those of you taking the class, we've only got like 4 weeks plus finals left, right? And remember, when it comes to the final, I'm totally going to hook you up. You will be completely set for the final, so no worry about that. Let's see, what else can I show you as we're waiting? What else can I show you as we are waiting? Oh gosh, nothing. Hey, actually, there's one thing. I got a new light. If you notice over here, hey Levi. Okay, so over here I added a few weeks back. I added this blue light, right? And I really like it. I think that looks good and so forth. Well, this corner, as you remember, was really dark. And so I purchased another light, and this one I did green. I did green for a few reasons. One is it's projecting up on the plant there, fake plant, but and so I thought, well, green makes sense. Also, in color theory, blue and orange are on opposite ends of the color spectrum, and so that's why they're considered complementary. This blue-green, it's actually more of a blue-green, is a complementary color if you look at the triangle and so forth. So I added that as well. I know that when you're on Twitch or watching other YouTube videos and so forth, they're really cool techno backgrounds, really awesome lights and fixtures and so forth. I like that. I get it, right? But I'm an old man, and I can't pull off trying to be young and hip and dope and all that sort of stuff, right? I'm not Pog. But I like the look, so I wanted to add a little bit of lighting. But I also wanted to maintain this sort of industrial design, this sort of industrial feel, the old man feel, so that when you watch videos that were shot in my downstairs study, they don't seem utterly incongruent with this space. So that's why I've kind of strayed away from the really techno-looking, Daft Punk look, and stayed a little bit more with the staid, settled old man look, if you will. Still, I wanted some lights, so I got some lights. Works out great. All right, so we'll wait a couple more moments and we'll get folks on board. This is, I say it every time, one of my favorite lectures, so I'm kind of eager to get started. But we'll get started here in just about 30 seconds. We have to let the time go and let folks join in. And as you join in, folks, chime in, say hi. We got Adrian, we got Levi. I'll go ahead and chime in here. Hey all, and I'll spell it correctly. Yeah, there we go. All right, well, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and get started. So, all right, now we're actually in the getting started mode. Hope you had a great weekend. Only 4 weeks plus finals week left in school for this semester, and wherever you're taking school, it's probably different for you. Hey, Brooke, in this class, I'm going to continue to take care of you, so just finish strong and you're going to be in great shape. And so with that, let's go ahead and come over to today's lecture. And I think I'm going to minimize this just a little bit so it's easier for me to read. There we go. Yes, what is a consumer economy? Now, this is not a term I made up. This is an actual term. Here in the United States and in most of the Western world, and heck, in South Korea, I mean, we're in consumer economies. Well, what does that mean? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to talk about where this idea of consumer economy really kind of started and why it started. And in so doing, we are actually going to look at 2 readings today. We are going to look at Galbraith on the dependence effect, and then we're going to talk about Pecuniary emulation by Veblen. Okay, so these are the 2 readings that we're going to kind of stitch together and have some fun with. All right, so let's start with the dependence effect by John Kenneth Galbraith. Hey, Laura, great to have you with us. And we're going to start right off with a question. We're going to start building up these points, baby. You choose which one. Hats, shoes, jackets. How many hats or how many pairs of shoes or how many jackets do you own? Okay? So just go ahead and pop in there how many of whatever one you own the most of. And let's see what we come up with, and I'll share with you my own as well. So here's the button I'm looking for. Let's give this a try. Okay, let's come back to this. Oh, by the way, just because, bam, we're already there, we're just going to take these right on up. And we're going to do a whole lot more of these. It'll be fun. Let's go ahead and take that up to 8 and 8. And I know that we've got 8 contributors as well. And hey, I'm talking real world here. So we're putting up 8 real world examples. All right. So I have a feeling that we're gonna do well today. All right. So I'm gonna make up some numbers. All right. I'm going to say that when it comes to absolute utilitarian value, it makes sense to have maybe 3 pairs of shoes and 3 jackets and a couple of hats. 3 hats. Let's just say 3. Why? Well, because summer wear, winter wear, and I don't know, formal wear, right? Windbreaker, like Levi said, and then maybe a big heavy jacket, something in between. You know, you want to be able to kind of address the weather, right? But here's the thing. We don't do this because of utilitarian value. We do not have all this stuff because of utilitarian value. Now, to be perfectly fair, and in full disclosure for myself, when it comes to, I'm going to do shoes first. I think I have about 5 or 6 pairs of shoes. And no, not all of them I wear. Some of them I bought because I liked, but I rarely wear them. When it comes to jackets, I think I have about 7 or 8 jackets, but I only wear 1 or 2 of them most of the time. When it comes to hats, guys, I have about 2 dozen hats. All right, so the man likes hats. Yeah, but here's the deal. I don't wear hats. I don't wear hats. So hold on. Why am I buying 2 dozen hats when I don't wear hats? We're going to answer that question, okay? Check you guys out, though, right? Scott, 6 hats, 4 pairs of shoes. All right, so you were raised by grandparents during the Depression, right? You know, Mauricio, 8 hats. I wouldn't call that out there, right? But let's look at some of these people that need an intervention, right? Brooke, 40 pairs of shoes. I love it. I love it. Levi, 10 jackets, right? It's, you know, we don't wear these things or buy these things for utilitarian value. Why do we buy them? Why do we buy them? Well, we're going to talk about that. All right, so come back over here. So this is what Galbraith says. He says, listen, there's what we call kind of a neoclassical view of economics. All right. And you're going to recognize this neoclassical view. This will not be surprising at all. And frankly, it's not surprising because it's true for the most part. Here's his neoclassical view. Consumer demand drives production. So when demand goes up, production goes up. And when demand drops, production drops. It's the consumer, it is customer demand that drives the production of goods. Consumers rule the market because their wants and needs create demand. This in turn sets the level of production known as supply. All right? You know all that. You've studied that in your economic classes, and you're like, yeah, it makes sense. And in fact, it does, right? So, Google Glass. Do you remember Google Glass? I think it was probably done about 7 or 8 years ago. Google put out these glasses that have this little HUD display, heads-up display. it did not take off. People hated it. And so, yeah, it went into the waste bin. Consumers did not want it. Therefore, production did not go up. Neoclassical view. Hey, check this out. See this kid here on a video call with Aunt Marge or whatever? Zoom. Zoom, right? That technology has been around since the late 1960s. It was actually introduced at a 1960-something or another World's Fair. That technology has been around for decades, but people hated it. People did not like it. And in point of fact, my friends, here we are in 2021, and when you're in a Zoom call, most of the time, you turn off your video display. Think about it. At the end of the day, you're still just using Zoom as a phone call, just now a group phone call, right? And so we just don't like it, right? Mauricio says Apple is doing the glasses, and so is Microsoft. Well, we'll see if they can pull off something that Google could not. Now, this has eventually become mainstream, but even so, we turn off the video display. Hey, check this out. See that? Intel made that. It was an MP3 player. MP3 player? Oh, you mean like an iPod? Yeah, Intel made this. It was cumbersome. It was a pain in the butt to use. It did not work. It was not intuitive. I owned one, and it was a piece of junk, and Intel stopped making them. Apple came along and did it right. This is back in the day where Apple was innovative. They did it right, and that's where demand went up, so supply went up. Okay, you guys get that. Neoclassical view of supply and demand. Galbraith says it doesn't work like that. This is what he asserts. It's not the customer who dictates the term of the industrial system, but rather the companies that produce and market the services. These companies manufacture an abundance of contrived wants, which they then market heavily. Contrived wants, okay? So in other words, they're not asking, what do you want, what do you want, what do you want to the market. They are producing all this crap, and they are therefore convincing you that you want it. Give you some examples. I'm going to call out Scott. Scott, he's a grizzled old man just like I am. Scott, back when you were a kid, yes, Mauricio, it's absolutely advertising. It's absolutely advertising. Yes. So Scott, when you were a kid, you'd go trick-or-treating at Halloween, right? You go trick-or-treating, you cut out, you get an old sheet, you'd cut out holes in the sheet, put it over your head, and you're a ghost, right? That was trick-or-treating back in the day. Today, do your parents set up the house for Halloween? Do they decorate the home for Halloween? When you see all kinds of stores out there, Spirit and so forth, that are hawking Halloween stuff and so forth, Halloween has become a great, big, huge production. All right? Of course, Christmas just gets crazier and crazier. We recently had, and you can barely see it here, we recently had St. Patrick's Day, right? Same thing with St. Patrick's Day. Since when is this a holiday, right? But with their marketing and selling stuff. So the idea is that these companies are out there producing and producing and producing. And just like Mauricio says, through advertising and marketing, they are convincing you that you want it. A contrived want. All right, go ahead and Google the word contrived. It means that it's made up. It's not real. It's just imagined. You don't really want it, but now you think you do. Here's an example that I really like. I like this example for a couple of reasons. The first is that it's a great contrived want, right? Nobody in the history of mankind ever thought, you know what? I wish I had a putting green when I was sitting on the can. Nobody ever said that. And if anybody did say that, they were ostracized from society because that's sick and wrong. But here's the other reason I really like this example. Twice in teaching this lecture, I have had students sheepishly raise their hand and say, I've got one. Incredible, right? Have you ever used it? No, I never use it. But you know, it's a contrived want. Now, why do we do this? Why do we do this? Well, it's the whole consumer economy. I want to share with you a quote. This is not from one of the readings, but holy hell, we need to put this in the readings, okay? This is from a guy named Victor Lebeau, all right? Awesome name, Victor Lebeau. And he was an economist back in 1955. And he said, our enormously productive economy demands that we make consumption our way of life, that we convert the buying and use of goods into rituals, that we seek our spiritual satisfactions, our ego satisfactions in consumption. We need things consumed and burned up and worn out, replaced and discarded at an ever increasing pace. I love this quote. Now, I love it because I agree. Let's play with this for a moment, okay? Our enormously productive economy, right? Well, here's the thing. This came in 1955, which was, not even a decade yet after World War II. And during World War II, we got really good at making stuff. We got really good at manufacturing stuff. Tanks, planes, jeeps, ships, you name it, right? Well, all these service people come back from Europe and from Asia, and we got to employ them. And we have all this manufacturing capacity. Well, the thing is, we don't want to just make something and have it meet your need in perpetuity. As he says, we need things consumed, burned up, worn out, replaced, and discarded at an ever-increasing pace. We're going to go deeper into that in just a moment. But let me play with something here. We make consumption our way of life. Okay, check this out. Turn it into rituals. What's a way, and we're not going to go to the question slide. You just pop in and answer anytime you want. You'll get, we'll stack this up. What are rituals that involve economic transactions? Well, I'll give you one example. Have you ever thought, I want to go on a date, but I'm broke? I want to ask this person out on a date, but I'm broke. What does being broke have to do with wanting to ask this person out on a date? Well, how can you go on a date if you don't have money? What do you mean? There's only 1,000 things you can do without money. But here's the thing. It's part of a dating ritual. It's part of a courting ritual. We want to go to shows. We want to go to dinners. We want to go to escape rooms. We want to do this. We want to do that. And it's a way of showing that we are providers or that we value the person. And so we're willing to spend our hard-earned cash on them. It's a way of demonstrating our affection and, toward this person. The idea that you would go on a date with no money and say, hey, I'm broke, but do you want to go for a drive through the canyon? The person would be like, oh, loser, right? That's an example of where we make purchasing part of a ritual. Seek our spiritual satisfactions, right? Let's take Christmas, for example. Christmas has nothing to do with the spiritual world. I know. It's the day that we recognize and have kind of just decided as a group that we would recognize the birth of baby Jesus in the Christian tradition. And so, yeah, you're supposed to go to church and you're supposed to, reflect and pray and spend time with the family. And yeah, I get that. But that's not what Christmas is about. Christmas is 100% about Black Friday. And if you've ever wondered what Black Friday means, you probably know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Black Friday is when most companies' books go from red, meaning we're losing money, to the black, meaning we're finally making a profit. Okay? Many retail shops make 60% of their profits in the month leading up to Christmas. Okay? Birthdays! Oh my holy heck, what a great real world example, right? Fantastic, right? And business interactions like meetings, golf, trips, yes. Yeah, you guys are totally getting it. And you know where that puts us now. We've got 2 tens now, and we're going to get more. So let's do our timestamp 1021. So after the lecture, send me a timestamp of 1021, and we'll take care of you like we always do. But you know what? Birthdays, business meetings, celebrations, these are great examples. The idea of having a celebration without consuming something economically seems weird. Ego satisfaction. We're going to get more into this, but the reason I have hats and I don't wear hats, and why we have 40 pairs of shoes in Brooke's closet has a lot to do with ego satisfaction as well. We're going to get there. As well as rituals. I'll go ahead and explain the ritual one for hats right now, okay? So, why do I own like 2 dozen hats and I don't wear them? I think they look cool. I like them. I have some cool looking hats. I think they're neat. And here's another one. My wife and I like to, every couple of years or so, we like to go to Vegas. I know. How Philistine can you get? Well, I'm pretty Philistine. I like to go to Vegas. I like the shows. I like the hotels. I don't gamble, right? But I like it. And over there in Vegas, there's this really cool hat shop. And we always go in and we always splurge on a really, really nice hat. One for her, one for me. Neither one of us wear hats. But we think they look so cool. She'll try one on and say, I aspire to one day be at an event where I need to wear this hat. It's aspirational. We're going to come back to that. But that's what it is for me as well. Ego satisfaction in huge cars, yes. Based off personality, yes. Very good. Very good. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to keep having fun with this. Now, remember, this dude said we need things, consumed and burned up at an ever-increasing rate, right? Well, they do this. They do this through 2 primary methods. One of them is called planned obsolescence. And planned obsolescence works like this. Yes, we have the capability to build, let's say, a printer. We have the capability to build a printer that can more or less last forever. Trust me, we do. I actually have one. It's a laser printer, so black and white laser printer. I've had this thing for probably 25 years. Works great. We have the capability to build a printer that lasts forever. But we don't do it that much. Have any of you, and just raise your hand here, say, yeah, me. Have you ever run into this? You buy a color printer. Maybe you bought a computer and they throw in a color printer for $50 and you're like, totally, I'm going to buy a color printer for $50. This is great. You buy a color printer, you print, 3 sheets, and then you run out of ink. The ink, now they've changed this a little bit, but not that much. The ink easily costs 3 or 4 times as much as a new printer. They don't want you to buy new ink. They want you to buy a new printer. And so every year or so, you throw out a perfectly good printer because you've run out of ink. Now, there are a few stores that actually did this cartridge refilling process. They popped up in malls every now and again. But that's a great example of planned obsolescence. Now, don't just take it from me. Later on, check out this video. This is by a YouTuber, Veritasium. Veritasium, he's a solid class act, and he does a lot of science videos. Vast majority of his videos are science videos. Veritas is Latin for truth. And he talks about the conspiracy around light bulbs. Now, of course, today we're using different LED light bulbs and so forth, but back in the days with incandescent light bulbs, they were specifically designed to burn out after about 15,000 hours. Or 1,500 hours, 15,000 hours, one of those. Watch the video and find out. Find out why it is that they did that, how they got away with it, and so on and so forth. The truth is, the very fact that see this phone here? I replaced it because the battery on my other phone died. Well, why not just replace the battery? Oh, well, you can't, right? Now, check out some really cool things. So check out the right to repair. Check out the right to repair movement, and then check out a brand of tools called iFixit. The right to repair movement, and this is a real political movement, is right now it is illegal for you to change the battery in a phone, especially an iPhone. And they actually put in place different shapes of screws and different sizes and so forth. These are called tamper-proof screws. And the reason they're tamper-proof is, we don't want you to go in and void the warranty. No. They don't want you to go in and replace the battery because then you don't have to buy a new phone. Okay? Check out the right to repair movement. Check out the mission statement around iFixit. Watch this video on planned obsolescence, and it will open your eyes to how the system is manipulating us. I told you we were going to do that in this class. Okay. But then we have perceived obsolescence. Perceived obsolescence is that, well, yeah, it works perfectly fine, but it's old. It's old. Right? I don't want to have the old one. I want the new one. I perceive that this thing that I have is no longer as awesome as it was when I first got it. Now, this is everything when it comes to fashion. This is everything when it comes to fashion. The fashion industry wants you to perceive that your shoes, your shirts, your your pants, your jackets, your dresses, your skirts, your blouses. They want you to perceive that, oh, that is so last decade. What do you mean? It covers me. It's comfortable, keeps me warm, keeps me cool. What's the problem? Oh, you're just not with it, dude, right? That's perceived obsolescence. And we do the same thing with phones as well, right? Currently, we've kind of maxed out the technology that we can shove into these things. When it comes to innovation in a phone, everything is incremental innovation. Radical innovation is kind of gone. Now, Samsung is trying to do the folding phone and so forth. I get that. But the days of radical innovation are really gone. And so how are they going to keep you buying this thing? Well, first of all, your batteries will go bad. Second is, well, the camera on this new model is better than the old model. Perceptibly so? No, but it's better. Do you take a lot of pictures? No, but it's better. And look, this one does slow motion video. Oh, really? Do you shoot in slow motion video? No, but this has slow motion video, right? So we perceive that what we have is not as cool as what the other person has. Works just fine, but that perception is a lot. So I also have a rule. Because of all this. Now, why do we do this? Gross domestic product. Our economy is absolutely dependent, and I'm going to zoom up on this. Our economy is absolutely dependent on you and me buying. Okay? The economy must grow. It grows or dies, and we want it to grow at about 2.5% a year. And the only way it's going to grow 2.5% a year is if we keep producing and keep buying. Gross domestic product, GDP, is basically the entire value of all the goods and services created in the country. So if you add up the value of all the goods and services created in the United States during a year, that's your gross domestic product, your GDP. GDP needs to go up for the economy to thrive. In order for the GDP to go up, we need to buy. And so why do you think the government has been sending us out stimulus checks like money is going out of style? Because they want us to spend it. Because if we spend it, GDP goes up, jobs go up, the economy recovers. Our economy is absolutely inextricably tied to us purchasing. So it's not about supply and demand anymore. It's about them producing, us buying, whether you need it or not, contrived wants. Now, this here is a little advertisement thing for Parade of Homes in Salt Lake City. Parade of Homes works like this. They put together these construction companies, developers, interior designers. They will build these really great, big, huge, lavish, amazing, incredible homes. And then you and I, as Joe Public, we're allowed to tour these homes. I will never tour these homes because I love my home and I want to continue loving my home. Now, just down the street from me, I have a neighbor who has the exact same floor plan as I do. So this home right here, exact same floor plan as what I have. And he extended his bedroom in a way that I could not easily, but I could do. Now, I love my bedroom. It works great. It's fun, whatever. I saw his, and I was all of a sudden less than totally satisfied with my own. It's the keeping up with the Joneses. And it really struck me that, hold on, 30 minutes ago, if you had asked me, do I love the design of my bedroom? I'd say, absolutely. It's great. It's fantastic. Best bedroom I've ever had. But now if you ask me, I'd say, well, it's not as good as his. I don't want to live that life. I want to enjoy and appreciate what I have. And so I never do the parade of homes. Okay, so let's keep going. Now we're going to tie this, and don't worry, this is going to be a really seamless linkage with Veblen talking about pecuniary emulation. Go ahead and learn these two words. Let's go ahead and define them, but trust me, you want to know these words. Now, first, let me ask you this. In today's society, how do we show others that we're successful? I want to show you that I'm successful. You want to show others that you're successful. Now, take my word for a moment that we want to show others that we're successful. In a little bit, I'll dive deeper into that. But just for the sake of argument for the moment, let's assume that we want to show others that we're successful. How do we show this? How do we demonstrate it? So give me your thoughts on that, and let's play with that idea. Okay, great. Let's come back to these. And by the way, I'm going to just go ahead and I've totally lost track, but I'm going to bring that on up to 10. So we're going to add that in there. So you guys, great. So, Scott says nice house, car, etc., accessories and so forth. Brooke just said the materialistic items, yes. Jack says if he or she is living a happy life, right? Every once in a while, we'll run into somebody who just seems happy, and you're like, he must be pretty successful. She seems to be happy and fulfilled and self-actualizing. It's just the disposition. Okay, very good. Well, let's play with this. Pecuniary emulation, all right? So, do I have another one? I'll go come down here a little bit. Yeah, we'll get me out of the way just a smidge. So let's first define these terms. Pecuniary means money, more or less, right? If somebody wants to pull that up and throw a dictionary definition in there, but it basically has to do with money and building of wealth and so forth. Emulation means to copy, to mirror, to emulate, right? So if you are really fond of your mother or your father, you might emulate, little kids who are pretending to wear their mother's shoes and stuff and stomping around the house, or a little boy who's watching his father and he's copying what his father's doing. That is emulation, okay? Emulation. So when we put the two together, we've got pecuniary emulation, which means we want to copy, emulate the financial circumstances and wealth of those who we admire. And how do we do that? We wear the stuff they wear, we buy the stuff they buy, we drive the stuff they drive, we drink the stuff they drink. Pecuniary emulation is the absolute driver of celebrity endorsements. Okay? So, Beckham, oh, I want to bend it like Beckham, so I'm going to wear Adidas, right? Oh, you know what? Katy Perry, totally love her, so I'm going to eat pop chips, right? Gosh, this is one of my favorites. Why can't I remember his name? I want to be like him, so perfume, I guess, right? Okay, so, I'm going to wear his watch. I'm going to use her shampoo and so forth. Brad Pitt, thank you. Why can't I remember Brad Pitt? I can remember Beckham, but I can't remember Brad Pitt. All right. Pecuniary emulation is us wanting to, here's the thing. Hey, Beckham is successful. He wears Adidas. I wear Adidas. Therefore, by extension, I am successful. Monkey see, monkey do. Well, now here's the thing. I'm a monkey. Okay, let me show you something. See these glasses? My entire life, I thought thick black frames were the most ridiculous thing in the world. I hated thick black frames. I thought they were nerdy. Back when I was growing up, Revenge of the Nerds, all that, thick black glasses with tape here in the middle, that was like the universal calling card of a nerd. I hated thick black glasses. I never wore them, obviously. Until this guy is Chuck Palahniuk. Yeah, Chuck Palahniuk. Chuck Palahniuk is an author I really like. Now, a book that he's written that you know about because it was made into a now famous movie with Brad Pitt in it, and Edward Norton, is Fight Club. Okay? You've heard of Fight Club. Well, Chuck Palahniuk wrote Fight Club, and he's written a ton of other books that I've really enjoyed, right? Check that out, man. Check out his nerdy, heavy-framed glasses. I'm just going to be upfront with you. I thought these were the most ridiculous style of frames in the world until I saw him in them. And I thought, you know what? He's a successful, weird, eccentric author. I want to be an eccentric, weird, eccentric author. I'm going to wear his glasses. It's really that simple, folks. They're stylish. You see these things around all the time and so forth. And so for me, it was pure pecuniary emulation. Now, don't get on my case. You practice it too. I promise you practice. What do you wear? What brands do you wear? The very fact, if you can name the brand you wear, is proof that you practice some level of pecuniary emulation, because the only value that brand has is association with something larger. Okay? So, I'm not the only monkey. Then we have another concept called conspicuous consumption. Conspicuous consumption really kind of goes to that level of showing success materialistically, right? So pecuniary emulation is saying, I want to be associated with the success. I want to be associated with this successful person. And by associating myself with this successful person, their success rubs off on me. Conspicuous consumption is saying, I am going to buy and wear and drive these things, not because they're better than something else, but because it shows off that I can afford this crap, right? Conspicuous means overtly, out in the open for everyone to see. You're not hiding anything. You're not being cagey. You're not being sly. You are being out there overt. Consumption, of course, is purchasing. So it's saying, hey, look, I am so successful, I can afford to buy that watch. I am so successful, I can afford to buy this Breitling. By the way, I really, really, really like that Breitling. And if I could afford the $35,000 to buy that Breitling, I would. Now, does that Breitling tell time better than my phone? Because you don't wear watches. No, it doesn't tell time better at all. But it's awesome. I can drive this car. Is this car going to get me to campus better than my car? No. But check it out, right? So these are ways, and you guys pointed it out, that we try to communicate to the community that we've got it going on and that we're successful, okay? Now, check this out. This is from the reading. The motive lies at the root of ownership, which is emulation. And the same motive of emulation continues active in the further development of the institution to which has given rise and in the development of all things featured of the social structure which the situation of ownership touches. What the hell? Okay, let me tell you what that means. It means, okay, listen. I wanted to be like Chuck, Palahniuk. I want to be weird, hipster, eccentric author. I want to be that. So I'm going to buy these glasses. Well, industry notices that everybody's buying these thick-rimmed glasses. So they start producing them more and they start raising the prices, because I'm not buying these glasses because they functionally hold in the lenses better than anything else. No, it has nothing to do with utilitarian value. It has everything to do with the perception of wealth and success. And so the advertising companies, do well because they're promoting, and the marketing companies and the producers and so forth. In other words, what this just said is the invisible hand is hard at work perpetuating the need to emulate success. Just as in the invisible hand creates value, whether your intention was to or not, the invisible hand perpetuates the system of us buying things just for the sake of emulation. Okay. The possession of wealth confers honor. Hey, check this out. I don't have a watch on. Check it out. This microphone. Okay. Anybody who knows anything about microphones, they recognize this and they know, oh, look at that. He has a Shure SM7B. That's one of the top line microphones. That thing's not cheap. And so should I put it out here so it's out of frame? No, I want it in frame. I want to show off. It's not really the case, but you see what I mean. Because it confers honor. Oh, this guy, he's the real deal. He has a real microphone. It is an invidious, causing resentment, harm, or envy, distinction. In other words, other people look at my microphone and go, oh, I wish I had a Shure SM7B. Well, I suppose if I had $800 just burning a hole in my pocket, I could get one too. Oh, but I really would like one, but then I need to get all this. It's creating envy. Right? And oh, by the way, when I'm watching YouTube videos and stuff, I am consumed by that envy. I want that light. I want that system. Nothing equally cogent, meaning convincing or based on reason, can be said for the consumption of goods, nor for any other conceivable incentive to acquisition, and especially not for any incentive to accumulation of wealth. What does that mean? It means the only reason I bought this microphone is because people I saw on YouTube were buying it and using it, and I wanted to be like them. I want to emulate their success, and so I got it. Did I do it to accumulate wealth? No. I'm a lot less wealthy now that I've bought this. Okay? So, this is what it all comes down to. Bling. We all have bling, right? Maybe bling isn't a grill or a great big clock, made of gold hanging around our neck. That's bling. This is bling, right? It's all about how do we show off our wealth and success to other people. Now, by the way, coming back to our friend Victor LeBeau, he had something to say about this as well, so I want to explore this. The measure of social status, bling, success. The measure of social status, of social acceptance, of prestige is now to be found in our consumptive patterns. The very meaning and significance of our lives today expressed in consumptive terms. Have I lived a successful life? Obviously, look at all this crap I've got. The greater the pressure upon the individual to conform and and safe and acceptable social standards, the more does he tend to express his aspirations and his individuality in terms of what he wears, drives, eats, his home, his cars, his pattern of food, his serving, his hobbies. I have built an entire studio. A lot of money, a lot of expertise, a lot of trial and error, so that I can just look like hot stuff. This is what I'm doing. You are too. It's just I'm the one here to show my example. Now, here's the thing. It sounds shallow. But is it really? I want to make a case for this kind of behavior. And I want to justify all this. All right? So, check this out. This is something that Galbraith said from Dependence Effect earlier. Who can say for sure that the deprivation which afflicts him with hunger is more painful than the deprivation which afflicts him with envy for his neighbor's new car? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let me put it all together for you. We are a community social creature. It is very important for us emotionally, physically, economically, to be a part of the community. Okay? If we are ostracized, pushed out, removed from the community, we suffer in untold terms. All right. So, in order to be a part of the community, we need to demonstrate value to the community. When we're driving around and every once in a while you see somebody and you think, what value are you contributing to the economy? We had this discussion when we lectured about panhandling as an example. The community embraces and values people who the community perceives adds value to the economy. We love successful people. We really, really do. There have been many studies that have shown that we confer a great deal of morality and rightness to successful people. We look at somebody who's successful and we just assume that they are smarter, more clever, harder working, more moral, more ethical than your average Joe. Now, I'm not saying this is the case with every person and every successful person. I'm talking in aggregate. And so we tend to want to embrace success. We want to be near success. We want to be the friends of successful people. This is where the nature of network power comes into play. We want to be near success. And furthermore, we want to be the object of that sort of cult of personality. We want other people to perceive us as successful because then we have a greater place in the community. Now, I've done all this because I want you to perceive me as a credible, successful, intelligent, innovative, entrepreneurial, hardworking professor. Because if you perceive me that way, you will have a greater likelihood of listening to and considering some of the ideas that I have to share. Whereas if I'm just phoning this in on some haphazard webcam on a crappy connection and my picture's down here in the bottom and I have this ridiculous background of my linen closet, you're going to be like, this dude is totally lost. I'm not listening to a thing he says. So I want to make a case for this. The fact is, we need to be perceived as successful because we need the help of the community and we need the opportunity to contribute to the community. To end with, I want to share with you one of my favorite ideas. This is from RuPaul, Life According to RuPaul. If you want to listen to this interview, it's on NPR down here. Just Google NPR RuPaul. I love what she says. He says here. He's not transgendered. He's a cross-dresser. What's cross-dressing called officially? Oh, that art. Oh gosh, if you're into the art of drag, there we go. He's drag, okay? You're born naked and the rest is drag. Drag is what you put on after you get out of the shower. We're all playing these roles, you know. Even as a kid, I remember thinking, why aren't we talking about the fact that everybody's playing a role? I couldn't get anybody to break the fourth wall and say, everyone's playing a role, right? Are you seeing this? Yes, drag queen. I am playing a role right now. I am playing a role. This is not the shirt I'm wearing all day today. I'm working in the kitchen. I'm going to be putting on a t-shirt. But I put on this shirt. I cut my hair. I didn't shave, but I'm very not meticulous, but I'm careful about how much beard I have on. I have on these hipster glasses. I have on this really cool background. I am playing a role as a professor. And in about 10 minutes, that role will end. And I'll play a different role. And then a different role. And then a different role. We all need to fit into society. And so we put on different clothes. We put on different vestments. We put on different airs. We play different roles depending on the circumstance we're in. We are all emulating somebody or some fashion. I love it. I find that so interesting. And the economy wants to keep selling us stuff so we can keep emulating. Americanism, using money you haven't earned to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't like. Ending quote today, and there you go. Folks, you did fantastic. You did great. We're going to get some points out there, so be sure to send me that timestamp. And thank you very much for playing along and being open about having 40 pairs of shoes and so forth. One thing I didn't share with you is I probably have 50 or maybe 60 bags. I really like bags. Backpacks, shoulder bags, you know, saddle bags. I love bags. So, as usual, thank you very much. I'll stick around if you have any questions or comments. Otherwise, you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of the day and a great beginning to the week. And we'll see you all on Wednesday. Have a good one.